We're going to dive into a little bit of midsole madness today. This shoe mad addict is going to talk about his favourite midsoles. Let's chuck in a montage of some midsole madness now. Hey guys, and welcome to this channel. It's the shoe mad sensation that is Runningman Sam. Love that feeling of all the different foams underneath, how some land with a thwack and some land with a thwud, and others are sort of responsive and poppy and slappy. All these different little things that we can describe them as, and they all feel different underfoot. Just love it. The midsole is the heart and soul of the shoe. It's what connects your foot to the road. And it's just the sensation you get when you're running comes from the midsole. As you can tell, I can really get into talking about midsoles, and that is what we're going to focus on today. We're going to focus on some midsole madness. I have got some special guests today as well helping me talk about these shoes, so you're definitely going to want to stick around for that. They're going to just help give a little bit of credibility to what I'm saying about some of the midsoles that I'm doing today. Talk too much about the shoe actually. We're just going to talk about the midsole, what it feels like, some of the pros and some of the cons. It's going to be exciting, it's going to be fun. If you are returning to the channel today and you're a subscriber, thank you very much. We're quickly building a good community here, so thank you. Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to do this. If you are new to the channel today, I hope my passion for running shoes comes out, and I hope you see that this shoe mad guy loves talking about shoes, and that you'll be coming here in the future for all your running shoe requirements and midsole needs. Why is it worth listening to Runningman Sam? Who even is this guy? Well, I am a 90 kilogram plus runner. I'm going to put some of my PBs here just so you can see what sort of speed I run at. I'm definitely not bad for a 90 kilogram running guy. I'm never going to be professional. I just like weight training and food too much to be anywhere close to being professional. I normally run between 40 and 50 miles a week, and I am an absolute shoeaholic. It's no secret. These are some of the shoes or the foams we're going to be talking about today. We've got some more shoes here. The first foam that we're going to talk about, and the new shoe that has come today, is the Adidas Adizero Adios Pro, but we are talking about the Lightstrike Pro. It is not about the shoes today, it is about the foam. Now just quickly, obviously I haven't run in this shoe yet, it's just come today, but I have done 60 miles in this one here. For me, the Lightstrike Pro is one of my favourite racing foams. In terms of what it feels like under my feet, it's not as responsive or as poppy as the ZoomX foam, but it does feel incredibly responsive, just not as responsive. The energy return from it from me, maybe it's because I'm a bigger guy and I'm putting more sort of power into it with my big old tree trunks, but for me, the more I put into this, the more I get out of it. And I do feel like I need to put a little bit more effort into it than in the ZoomX, but just for me it works better because it's not as soft and mushy as a ZoomX foam. It feels a lot firmer, but in a good way, not like a brick under your foot kind of firm, and that for me makes it feel very stable. And that's something that I'm searching for more and more now in a shoe. The more you put into it, the more you get out of it. And I'm going to chuck in a run that I did in this shoe the other day. I've been out in the Lightstrike Pro. I've done about 60 miles in this shoe now. I remember how much I enjoy running this foam. It's running so much easier. 3.5 miles at 7 minutes 16 mile pace. We're going to get some more opinions now from some other shoe connoisseurs to see what they think of it.
Lightstrike Pro from Adidas. I ran in this for the first time recently. It's a lot firmer than the ZoomX foam. I think therefore it may last a little bit longer, but what I really liked about it is it did still have a little bit of stability. You didn't feel as though you were kind of going to end up rolling your ankle or anything like that. The energy return I got from this today was also really super.
What do you think about the Lightstrike? The Lightstrike Pro? How does it feel under your foot? How do you compare it to the ZoomX? Quickly, the last thought here that I can give you about the Lightstrike Pro foam in comparison to the ZoomX foam here is that I think it's definitely a lot more durable. In the pink version, a swap, I have done over 60 miles in this shoe, and there's absolutely no sign of wear whatsoever on the exposed foam. No scrapes, no scruffs, no dents, no anything. So I think Lightstrike Pro is going to be incredibly durable foam. Moving on to our next foam today, the ZoomX foam. This is a foam that loads of people know and love. It is of course in shoes like the Vaporfly Next percent with the custom upper, the 4%, the Alphafly, and I've got the original Next percent here that is battered. We are not talking about the shoes though, we are talking about the foam. So ZoomX foam, it has got to be said, is probably the most responsive foam that I've ever run in. Especially when it's paired with a carbon plate. It feels slightly different in the Invincible, but we're going to talk about it today as a racing foam. So the ZoomX just feels so bouncy and so responsive. When you put it in, it's sort of that placebo effect as well, but you just know you're going to have a fast run. It just makes running fast feel so easy and effortless. It just does. It just feels like you're cheating. It feels like you've got I don't know whether they've included any pogo sticks or rocket boost in this, or it feels like they have, because it just feels like you're cheating. That's the positives of ZoomX, okay? The downsides to ZoomX is because it's very soft and very compressive, it doesn't seem to last as long. Now, this is my sale edition here, which I've done 120 miles in. I'm still getting the response from it, but the foam has compressed massively. I've lost a lot of stack height there. I'm not actually seeing too much wear on this version here. We've got a lot of exposed foam there. There's a few scuffs and stuff, so not too bad for durability there. Flyknit at 4%, you can see there's a lot of, and this actually happened after my first 10k race, all these scuffs here. So the ZoomX foam is not a very durable foam, and also in terms of just the foam itself holding up to wear and tear with the exposed areas. And the biggest downside for me is the stability of the foam, because it is so soft, and I do find myself feeling like I'm just waiting to get an injury sometimes when I run in these shoes. Where it is so squishy, you do sort of sink into it a little bit, so that is something to watch out for. Let me know in the comments, do you guys have any shoes with ZoomX foam in it? What do you think of it? Do you love it? Do you agree with what I'm saying today? We're going to get some more opinions on ZoomX here.
As you can see there, the ZoomX at the back. Fantastic midsole. Hi guys, so I'm going to be speaking about the Nike ZoomX midsole. Fantastic midsole for me. Very light, very forgiving, very responsive. The only downside really is this sole here. It's just a pure foam, so if you're stepping on any twigs or rocks, you can feel it straight through your feet. Again, the same applies at the bottom. Anything under here that's unprotected, you're feeling it straight through into your foot.
So the one I'm probably most familiar with, having been running in it for a while, is the ZoomX foam from Nike, which you will find in the Alphafly Next percent, the Vaporfly Next percent, and more recently into the ZoomX Invincible Run Flyknit. The thing about the ZoomX is it is super duper soft and cushioned, so a really comfortable foam, and what I find with it is that it's just super squishy. It's like walking on a pillow.
Also as well, in terms of the Alphafly, I'm seeing some wear here. I've done about 50 miles in this shoe, quite a lot of wear coming here, so more wear on this than I'm seeing in the Next percent. Now we're going to go into PWRrun, PWRrun. We're going to talk about PWRrun in the Shift, and we're going to talk about PWRrun Pb in the Saucony Endorphin Speed, or the Pro. Just the PWRrun itself, it's a very soft material but not too squidgy, so you can give it a good old squeeze, but when you're running in it, it doesn't feel too mushy. You definitely get a nice sort of stable feeling from it. You don't feel too much like you're sinking into the ground. It's quite responsive, but it's definitely not a racing type midsole. I'm going to chuck in here a thought from one of my other friends.
Okay, so today we are giving the main man, Runningman Sam, a bit of a helping hand here with some midsole review support. Saucony Endorphin Shift with the PWRrun midsole foam. I've done about 170 miles in this, and as you can see, the foam, there's hardly any creases, it's really robust, it's really comfy, it's responsive. If you're running sort of 7:30 pace and slower, you know, this is a fine shoe. I think it does struggle if you try to run a little bit quicker in it, and obviously there are much faster midsoles around if you want to run fast.
I definitely agree with what Chris is saying here. You can pick up the pace in it, as you can with every shoe, but it's not really one that encourages you to do so. Favourite foams for those easy runs. It just makes your foot feel all comfy inside. It gives it the support that you want, and it just feels good. It's a nice sensation on the feet. It's hard to describe how exactly it feels. It just feels that right combination of like stable and cushioned. It just feels good. I enjoy it. Moving on to a slightly different variation in the PWRrun Pb, where we've got a Pegasus based midsole. Now this is a lot squidgier. It kind of feels a little bit like Boost in a way, but this is a really enjoyable midsole. It feels really springy. That's what I think about springy, like some coiled springs. You know, it's kind of feels like that. And it is very durable as well. I'm not seeing any wear after over 100 miles. It feels quite stable as well. It's not necessarily one of them foams like the ZoomX where you feel like you're sort of falling in on yourself. So we're going to get some experts talk about the PWRrun Pb as well. We're going to attach that here.
Hello everybody, hope you're doing okay. My name's Tim Grose, I'm also a YouTuber, so thanks very much for Sam for inviting me along. I also do some shoe reviews, talk about my own training, and also run the Run Britain rankings of Power 10 sites in the UK. Anyway, today Sam wanted me to talk about midsoles. So today I've got on the Endorphins Speeds, and here they are. Not very well coordinated yellow socks, but there we go, got the New York colorway. So Endorphin Speeds, they've got the PWRrun Pb midsole, which is a Pegasus based one, which is apparently the same material that the Nike ZoomX is in. Now, like the Endorphin Speed and the Endorphin Pro, they're quite a good mix between being an ultra soft midsole, a bit like ZoomX, the Nike Invincible, which I've just got, which really is just a most incredibly soft shoe. But in the Pro and the Speed, they feel quite nice and spongy, but a bit of response as well. It's a shoe that you can go easy in, do a few intervals in, do a few tempo runs in. So I hope you find that interesting. As I normally say at the end of my videos, like and subscribe to Sam's video, and hopefully I'll put a link to mine, and see you later. Bye!
I'm not a YouTuber or a vlogger or anything like that, doing a mini shoe review for Runningman Sam. Specifically, actually, the midsole of the shoe, and in this shoe it's a PWRrun Pb midsole. I don't know a huge amount about what that means, but what I do know is it's made up of these tiny little pellets. You can kind of see them fused together on the bottom there, and the result of that is really soft, comfy foam underfoot. It's squishy. It's kind of reminds me of those playgrounds that you get, you know, where the floor is really squishy and weird, but in a good way. And when you're running in it, it's even better. It's soft, it's comfortable, and it's also got that pop and that responsiveness. It gives that want to go forward, and gets your legs turning over quicker, and really fast, snappy ride.
Okay, and the final midsole that we're going to talk about today, we might return for another episode with some more expert opinions in it, as well as my expert opinion, of course. But we're going to be talking about the Floatride foam. Now, this might be a foam you haven't heard much about. I think you should know a bit more about. It is the foam that we get in most of Reebok's shoes. Now, it's in the Reebok Floatride 3, imagine that, using the Floatride foam. And it's also in the Reebok Symmetros. It feels so stable, it does feel really responsive, and it does feel really cushioned, but it's not too mushy. It feels too soft. Sometimes I just feel like maybe it's because I'm a bigger guy, I've got to put a bit more effort into it. It feels a little bit lethargic, and you don't get that from this. It does feel lively, it does feel fun to run in, and it's just an enjoyable sensation. I'm going to attach a video here as well from some more expert opinions.
We've got the Reebok Symmetros with the Floatride foam. If you want to run a bit slower, sort of 8 to 9 minute miles, no problem. But I've also done intervals in these at a sort of almost 6-minute mile pace, 600-meter intervals, and these are a lot more poppy. So for this reason, I prefer the Floatride foam.
So, quick review for Runningman Sam. Got these. Reebok Floatride Energy 3.0. The Floatride foam is just so responsive. It's actually great for my long easy runs. I really thought that the Pegasus 37 was my shoe, but it turns out it's just too comfy. For me, I would definitely choose the Reebok my longer runs.
A guy that I'm good friends with, Stephen, he got a PB in his half marathon in these the other day, and he does also have the New Balance TC with a carbon plate. Who even needs a carbon plate if you can go out and smash your half marathon PB in a pair of Reebok Floatride 3s? Now personally, I wouldn't ever race in some Floatride foam. Maybe if it was combined with a carbon plate, that would be something that would be exciting, but it's just not quite responsive enough for me to race in, although it's just an amazing daily trainer. It is incredibly durable as well. I've done over 200 miles in my Reebok Floatride 2, and there's absolutely no creasing in the foam. It's definitely one of the best daily trainer foams out there, I think, and it just feels fun underfoot. It feels enjoyable, and that is what you want when you're going for a run. You want, well, I do because I love it because I'm a shoe mad addict, but I love that feeling under my feet. I love sort of thinking, oh, this feels responsive, and it feels like, you know, kind of like, you know, when you're sort of wine tasting, you're like, oh, bits of nuts and bits of fruit and all that. Well, obviously I'm not quite that advanced at sort of knowing what my foot is feeling underneath, but they all feel different when you're running, and I love that, and I love how this makes me feel when I run. So we're going to do a quick versus here over the Lightstrike Pro and the ZoomX really quickly. For me, the ZoomX is more responsive but less stable and durable. For me, the Lightstrike Pro is the opposite, obviously, a bit more stable. It still feels responsive, and it's going to be more durable. If you want something to feel really lively and a little bit faster, I think it's a ZoomX. If you want something that's going to be more protective, still feel responsive and enjoyable, but something that's going to last a little bit longer, the Lightstrike Pro is the one for you. So guys, I hope you have enjoyed today's videos. As I said, we have had some expert opinions there, and I'm so glad these guys could send these video clips through to me. It just helps add a little bit of credibility to what I'm talking about with the foam. As usual guys, these have been some super duper running shoes. This has been some midsole madness. I have been Runningman Sam, and I'll see you guys in a bit.